Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college basketball fans. That's stuck in my throat. It's okay. Across the nation and around the world, this is Tim May with the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall. And boy, do we have a guest today, one of my favorite people of all time. He's not a palm reader. He's Jerry Palm. Jerry Palm, bracketologist extraordinaire. Whatever you want to do when it comes to numbers and deciding this team is better than that team, even if they haven't played each other, whether that be football or basketball. Jerry Palm is a man. For a long time, he was the bracketologist for CBS.com. Now he's at palmbrackets.com. I have that right, Jerry?
Yeah, that's it.
Palmbrackets.com, kind of right back where he started from. But I'm telling you, there are enough ads on there to tell me he's making a living, ladies and gentlemen. But, Jerry, before we go any farther, we're going distance. No, before we go any further, I would like to know right now, after the lopsided victory over Wisconsin, when finally Ohio State looked like a team that could start and finish a game, finally, is Ohio State in or out of the field of 68 as we speak?
You'll have to check with me on Friday when I do my next bracket.
They
were out. They were among the first four out. And that's a big win for them. They are still 0-8 in quad one games.
Yeah.
Because that game was not a quad one game. The Wisconsin, UCLA, USC, three teams that are also on the bubble, that Ohio State is competing with for a spot in the field. They have home wins against each of them. So that's nice. But the ability to beat the better teams on their schedule is the problem that Ohio State now has to solve before they really start feeling comfortable about being selected. 0-8 against the top quad one doesn't usually get you in.
Yeah, I hear you. They've got three straight as it stands now on your brackets, bracketology. They have three straight games coming up against quad ones, right? And do they have to win 2 out of 3 of those? Do they have to win one? Do they have to get, if they win one of those and they get to a number, which is 21 or 22 wins, including, which I mean, going into the Big Ten tournament and getting a win or two, where do they have to get? Just give people some semblance of hope here as we speak.
Well, I mean, if they get to 22, they've beaten all of these teams because they're currently 17-9.
But I mean, also included and then going into the Big Ten tournaments.
Really, it isn't so much the 19 wins might be enough if they're the next 2 wins are the right 2.
Yeah, gotcha.
Or if they're not, you might need 22. It really depends on who they beat. Now, like you say, this schedule, the next 3 games are a great opportunity. You go to Michigan State, you go to Iowa. You get Purdue at home, where they seem to be a better road team this year anyway, so that may not be a blessing. But
that's weird, but yeah.
And then you still got to play Indiana at home. So, and that's another team they're competing with for a spot in the field. So the opportunity in the regular season is there for Ohio State to pad that resume. But whether they do or they don't, there's still going to be the conference tournament, and you're going to play good teams in this conference tournament because I've got 10 in the bracket. That's more than half the conference is in the bracket. So, it's a big number, but that's what happens when you get into 18-team leagues. So Ohio State, it would really help them to make a little hay in these next 3 games, but then you can't turn it around and give it away at Penn State.
Yeah. What'd you have to ask there, Clay?
Well, I'm wondering, you've got, correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, you have Indiana in the field as an 11 seed, UCLA in the field as a 10, USC in the field as an 8. And as you mentioned, Ohio State has beaten all of those teams.
Yes, they have.
And if I'm not mistaken, they are all below Ohio State in the Big Ten standings.
Yeah, the standings are not even Big Ten standings are not criteria.
No, understood. Are you telling me that UCLA's win over Purdue is the edge there?
It's part of it, yes.
Yeah,
because Purdue's a highly ranked team. Yeah. So
So
that's they actually have 2 quad one wins, I believe. I think they won at Washington as well, but that's not a tournament team. So those are very different. So when we throw like quadrant records around, keep in mind that a win over Purdue at home and a win at Washington are both quad one games, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but one is obviously a lot more beneficial to your tournament prospects than the other. So, anyways, yes, they beat USA and UCLA at home. They beat Wisconsin at home. So, they're going to get chances to show that they can beat tournament quality opposition off their home floor. At some point, you have to do that. So whether it's Michigan State or Iowa or the Big Ten tournament, which is not a home game, those are chances. If all they've got are those 3 home wins at the end of the year and they don't have anything better than that, they're not going anywhere. And they might need more than one better than that.
Right. I mean, I think they got to, as you say, they got to win one of the next 2. They have to beat Purdue at home and they have to beat Indiana. That would be and don't stub your toe in State College. That gets you in, would it not?
You're certainly going to feel pretty comfortable going into the conference tournament at that point. Yeah, I would think that you can still screw it up in the conference tournament. They're not going to be so far in. I don't think that. You're talking about what? Beat Michigan State and Iowa?
No. Beat Iowa, beat Purdue, beat Indiana. That's
you're going to feel pretty good about yourself going into the conference tournament, and the reason for that is Purdue, because Indiana at home is another win over a team you're competing with, but at home. Iowa it would be on the road, so that's obviously better. And then Purdue's a highly rated team, although if they keep losing, maybe they won't be.
Tim, I want to ask you and Jerry.
Okay.
I don't think the conference tournaments mean much. I don't think it factors
unless you need a win, man.
I've just seen it happen so many times where somebody stumbles, doesn't affect them. Somebody wins one, doesn't affect them. Jerry, Tim, what say you on that?
Well, if you put together a hell of a regular season schedule, then that means you've got something to lean on, for one, the way I look at it. And an upset in a conference tournament it may or may not cost you the number 1 seed in the overall tournament, for example, the NCAA tournament, or may drop you from 3 to 4, maybe, but you've got this whole other book of work that doesn't get discounted. Am I right, Jerry? Unless somebody gets injured in a game like that, like what happened to Cincinnati a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Yes. So here's the thing about the conference tournaments. They're neutral court games most of the time. And certainly in the major conferences, they're neutral court games. So you get a chance to pick up wins off your home floor. And the committee does like to see that. Yeah. The other thing is everybody, all of them, lose their final game except for the automatic qualifiers.
Yeah.
Everybody else, like the 18 teams are going to the Big Ten tournament, 17 of them are going to end this regular season on a loss.
Correct.
So, every bubble team ends the regular season on a loss. So you might think it doesn't have an impact, but you have to understand that all of these at-large teams lost their final conference tournament game, whatever game that happened to be. So that tends to even things out a little bit. But it's also such a small part of your overall resume.
Okay.
So it might not seem like it means much, but there are times where it certainly does mean something. And for the teams that are real close to the cut line, it can mean a lot.
Hey, man, I'm not a big retrospective guy because you can't change what happened, right? I mean, I got a buddy of mine that, man, if Ohio State had done this, this, and this, they would have won 5 more football national championships. I go, but yeah, dude, how long are you going to live back in 19 whatever, But I did want to ask you this, the loss to North Carolina.
Fans, are you?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But the North Carolina, the loss to North Carolina, would Ohio State be almost a solid in right now if that game had flipped the other way? For example, I mean, how much does a game like that come to bear at this moment of looking back and crying over a spilt milk, so to speak?
Well, you're talking about one game out of 26.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but over a quad one solid big time team. Yeah.
Yeah. It's their best win of the year if it's a win.
Yeah.
Right now. There's no question it's their best win of the year. They're on the right side of the cut line if they win that game, but they're not comfortably in the field. Gotcha. One game doesn't really do that much out of 30. Well, right now it's 26. It'll be 30, 5 or 6, or it could be 33. But, when you talk about one game, you're not moving from a an 11 seed to a 7 by flipping one game, right?
Yeah.
You might move from an out to a 10
Yeah.
by
Gotcha.
flipping one game.
Gotcha.
Even if that game, by the way, is Michigan, because that would still be their only quad one win. Now,
Yeah.
it's a great quad one win. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And it would have more impact than beating North Carolina, but you're not going from 11 to 2 because you beat Michigan.
Yeah.
You might go from
Yeah.
11 to 9.
Yeah. So I want people to understand how this works, though, Jerry. I mean, they had a shot at Virginia the other night. I don't know if you even watched the game, but it was in Nashville, neutral site. But they had a shot, and if they've sitting right now had put together those 3 straight wins, I can't remember who they beat. Was it who'd they beat earlier in the week? USC, and then you beat Wisconsin one-sidedly like they did last night. I mean, from your being a bracketologist who's up all night compiling all this stuff, but how much does that kind of role? Obviously, it helps you. Would they be in with a 3 straight win roll right now? You see what I'm saying? I'm meaning temporarily. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So I don't actually have Ohio State among my last 4 on first 4 out, but they're 5th. So
gotcha. I gotcha. Okay.
But beating Virginia, yeah, they're probably in.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be in versus out.
Yes.
You can't win the tournament if you're not in it. So that line is the line, right? Going from an 11 seed to a 10, whatever, but out to in is what really matters. And if they had beaten Virginia, they might very well be in today.
Yeah.
No,
wait. Crazy.
But then they can turn around and give it away.
No, but they can still lose it down the road.
Yeah.
You know that, Clay.
Jerry, I don't get that. It gives them quad one win.
But it still gives,
and you've been talking about quad.
It still gives them one quad one win, though. That's the point.
It's a quad one win, but it's not the same quad one win as winning at Washington.
Correct.
Right? We talked about that, and the committee. We throw those things around because it's a lot easier to talk about teams in a short period of time, like that. You could categorize things so that you can, but not every 7 quad one wins are the same, right?
Yeah.
That's why you have a committee, and that's why they meet for 5 days and don't sleep much. So they're trying to get all that stuff sorted out. And there's a lot of detail that goes into this. And you're not going to make a case for selection or not being selected just throwing out quad numbers, right?
Hey, how come they don't put like 15, 20 of you bracketologist guys who have rep? Why don't they let y'all be the committee?
Because we just beat each other up.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? You would never.
It would be like
there's a compromise.
It'd be a big slap fight.
Yeah,
we all hate each other. No, that's not true at all.
You and Lenardi in the ring.
Hey, you give me this. You give me this team.
It's funny because Joe and I started doing this at the same time, independent of each other. And now there's like 300 of us. So,
yeah,
really.
It's funny how that has all evolved, but it's the difference is we would have to give up our jobs to do that.
Yeah,
because what we do is highly analytical, and of course we watch games. You have to watch games, but you'd have to watch a lot more games than we have time to do and do our jobs.
Yeah,
do our regular jobs. Gotcha. And the people that are in that room are pretty typically basketball people. Even the conference commissioners, have a basketball background oftentimes. So, whereas, my degree is computer science. My only role on a basketball court, well, I bet a ref, put a whistle in my mouth. I can help you there. But, I'll take a charge, but then you're going to need to call 911.
Yeah.
So,
it'll cost you money. Yeah.
It's, I'm a beanpole. So watching the games, you can watch the games, understand the games. A lot of people cover college basketball that never played, but it would be a different lifestyle to prepare for that job and still do this one.
Yeah. What do you make of the proliferation from 2 of you to 300?
I think it's great. As technology has evolved, it's made it a lot easier for people to do it. They're largely in it for the same reason I got into it, which was, I had a computer. Well, I mean, in my case, back in the 90s, I had a new computer, too much time on my hands, and used this as a way of teaching myself new technology. They are probably using it as a way to maybe educate themselves with this part of the basketball selection process. And if you're into sports analytics, which also wasn't much of a thing back in 1994, this is a really good way to kind of apply those skills to something that you love. So,
and you love the game.
Yes, yeah, you really do have to, because I mean the analytics are the analytics, the science part. I guess you could love the science part, but if you don't love the game, I don't know how you explain what you're doing very well.
Did you? I've never asked you this. You and I've been to dinner a million times and stuff, especially
Usually
back when
pizza in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. But I've never asked you this. Did you write your own program? I mean, how did you? You don't have to go into
I still use most of what I wrote.
So your original.
I mean, I've had to modify it quite a bit over the years, so it wouldn't be recognizable. From what I started with back then. But in fact, I'm even using a different language, so I rewrote it at some point.
But your original algorithm is still somewhere. I mean, explain how that works, Jerry. I mean, to somebody who doesn't know anything about computers.
So the formula is completely different. I wrote programs, and I had a database where I could do queries and stuff, so that I could get the data to my program in a way that it could easily process it to generate output that I could share with people. And I still do that. I still have a database. I still generate files that give me a chance to create output that I can put up on my site. So now it's a lot different. It's evolved quite a bit over 30 years, but it's still the same general process. And then you've got guys like Ken Palm who do much more detailed analytics type stuff. It's high level math, and it's a different animal. Also very valuable, I think, to educating people in terms of how good these teams are. Because I can tell you a lot about the net. I'm not sure that certainly the RPI was not a really good way to definitively define the value of a team. But it's always hard to do that with analytics, even because in basketball you get artificial margins of victory because of the way the game ends being different than maybe the first 38 minutes. Because you're fouling and your teams are shooting free throws and padding a lead or blowing a lead or whatever, and it doesn't really give you the feel of the entire game. But it's still valuable to have something that is more sophisticated than we had when we started out with the RPI, which had all the sophistication of stone writing on a tablet.
Yeah, but at least it was stone writing on the tablet. They're still finding stuff like that around the world. I
got into this too late in life, for the sports analytics boom. I should have gone back to school for that. Because I would have majored in that back in 1980 something.
Making buku cash. But that's what I want to ask you. When your formula is analyzing teams, how good they are, et cetera, is it looking at as much of the stats as possible? Like you just said a while ago, if a team shoots, makes 11 out of 13 free throws at the end and salts away a win, that's different from like Bruce Thornton last night. He went over the 2,000 point career mark. He had 3 points in the first half and then 24 in the second half. You follow me? I mean, it's
I don't track the flow of games like that. I wouldn't have
I didn't know that.
Games like that. I do. I care about the end result, because the end result is what matters.
Yes.
Did you win?
Final score.
And I don't even care that much about margin, although sometimes you can't help but care about the margin, like Michigan's whole non-conference schedule, where they just they eviscerated everybody in sight. That I can't get over beating Gonzaga by 40.
Yeah.
And then and I'm thinking about Purdue last night. I'm thinking, just don't go Gonzaga on them. And Purdue's a good team, but so was Gonzaga. And Michigan was beating teams by 40.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Wisconsin so impressive. It's like, Wisconsin, they've got two of the best road wins anybody has this season. They won at Michigan. It's their only loss.
Yeah.
They won at Illinois. I mean, there aren't 5 better road wins in college basketball this year, I would bet, than those two.
So,
And they beat Michigan State, although that one was at home. Now they don't have
yeah,
a great record, right, against good teams. They're 3-7, but man,
right,
those three,
right.
So for Ohio State, even if USC and UCLA and those were quad one games, they're not those quad one games, right?
Yes, yes,
So you understand that there's a difference there.
yeah,
But so yeah, quality matters. You also have to try and take stuff into account like injuries and stuff that just isn't something that shows up in any measurement.
yeah,
And
exactly.
it's hard for one person like me to keep track of everybody's stuff, like everybody's injuries. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. But there's a lot that goes into it, and not all of it is in the numbers.
So you're Jerry Palm. I don't even know. Do you even gamble? Do you even wager? I never even asked you that. Do you?
No. I mean, I've done a little bit,
Yeah.
not in the last couple of years. And there would be, well, okay, I get into a basketball pool. I'll get
Yeah.
into a tournament pool.
Yeah.
And I'll throw my $5 into that or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I'll get a
Yeah.
Super Bowl squares thing or whatever. But I'm not anything even remotely resembling a sophisticated gambler.
My point is, right now, let's say Jerry Palm is gone off the deep end, and you've moved
His
on
wife
from
has kicked him out of the house.
Yeah, you moved on from Schererville or wherever, and you're living in that casino up there off of Lake Michigan, up there in Hammond or wherever that. What's the name of that place?
Hammond. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Hammond's got him. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the casino, but anyway.
Oh, yeah, it's changed, I think.
Yeah. But my point is, one team in this upcoming tournament, as you sit here right now, that looks like it is the team that will run the table, not could run the table. Is it Michigan?
If I have to pick one today, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
However, I have at best about a 15% confidence in that.
Yeah. Why? Go ahead.
Because there are so many really good teams.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like to get, and I'm not talking about like the defending champion Florida is a very good team.
Yes.
Capable of repeating. They're a 4 seed in my bracket.
Yeah.
Monday. So that's how many good teams we're talking about. And I've always felt like the teams that win the NCAA tournament usually have got a guy that the NBA is frothing at the mouth about. They've got a guy like that. And UConn always has guys like that, or just even to get to a Final Four. I mean, you'll see the occasional interloper who gets there on grit and guile, and I love that.
Yes.
But it's like when Purdue got to the Final Four, Zach Edey, who was the National Player of the Year.
Yes.
And that's what finally got Purdue over the hump was, Zach Edey was the National Player of the Year. And
he was tall.
Well, that doesn't hurt, but you don't have to be
I'm just
tall.
messing.
So you look at this freshman class in college basketball this year. There's about 8 teams in the top 15 of college basketball that have got just a freshman.
Yeah.
That everybody in the NBA wants.
Isn't that crazy?
And that's a really high number. And then you've got guys, like I don't know if Houston qualifies for that. I don't know if Iowa State qualifies for that. I don't know if Tanner Lipsey is somebody like that. He's not a freshman. He might be somebody like that anyway. But but these guys, they're old and they're talented. And Houston they've got a talented freshman, but not like some of these other guys like DeBance and Peterson and those guys. But Houston is an older team. Iowa State's an older team. Purdue's an older team with 2 guys that were All-Americans last year, and one of them may break the all-time assist record. And those teams can do damage too.
Yeah.
But if you run into an AJ DeBanza and he's going off, there might not be a whole lot you can do about it.
Right.
And so if you haven't got a guy like that on your team, you can still make the Final Four. You can still win the tournament. It's just harder.
Yes, exactly. It's got to be all squirrels to the tree. As the old saying goes. Well, I just made that old saying up.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
It's now 30 seconds old.
Probably a lot of reasons why you haven't heard that one, but that's what I did want to get back. It does finally, like we talked about a while ago, is did you win or not? It does finally matter whether the ball goes through the hoop or not, right? And
Yes, it does.
and
Yep.
when you have that stud, man, it's a different deal. I wanted to ask you
Yeah.
about the Big Ten in particular, and I wanted to ask you about your beloved Boilermakers, where you not only went to school, but you trumpeted the glory of Purdue, didn't you? When you were in school, I'm trying to remember. Did you?
Yeah, I saxophoned it. I saxophoned it. I wasn't a trumpet
saxophoned
player.
it.
My
Yeah.
kids were trumpet players, but in
Yeah.
fact, I've got I 2 in the band now. But
yeah, I played trumpet. I like trumpeting,
yeah,
but
yeah, my
you
kids were brass.
saxophoned it. Yeah,
Yeah, my kids were brass.
Exactly, brass. And
so,
you know what?
yeah, big band family actually. Yeah,
a saxophone is sort of brass too. But
yeah,
but I digress. My point is, what the hell is wrong with Purdue?
I don't know that anything's wrong. It's I mean, they lost to Iowa State. What's really weird though is they're losing at home. You know,
yes,
the Illinois, Wagler goes off. Oh, one of those freshmen I didn't mention, but Wagler goes off and it's 48 points.
Yes, gotcha.
And sometimes it's the other team's day, and Michigan's Michigan.
Yeah.
And then Iowa State runs away in the second half, and that's a great team. But that kind of thing really shouldn't happen at Mackey as often as it has this year. And I think it's the first time since the 99-2000 season that they've lost 4 home games. So that's really kind of odd. The fourth one, but the one I think that really should not have happened at all is UCLA.
Gotcha.
UCLA, they had that one. Braden Smith had 2 late turnovers and coughed it up. He got hurt the game before at USC. I'm not sure he's quite right yet. He's got to be, but he has kind of had some moments where he struggled at times. It hasn't really looked like himself, but there's a lot on his shoulders with this team, and he's one of the best players. He's the best point guard in college basketball, and I don't really think there's any question about that. And he still is, but they depend a lot on him, and sometimes I think they need him to score more than he does, and he can. He can score too. But that 3-game losing streak in the middle of the season is really kind of an eyesore. And I have to correct myself. Purdue has only lost 3 times at home.
Yeah.
They lost at IU and they lost to UCLA.
They're still stunning though when you think about it. What I wanted to ask you though is this I'm not going to call it the golden age for Big Ten basketball, but are you surprised by how good the Big Ten is? I guess that's the best way of putting it. I'm talking about from a depth standpoint. Go ahead.
What's surprising is how good Nebraska is. I didn't really see that coming. But Michigan, Illinois, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin, Iowa, those are all teams that we're used to seeing.
Yes.
Those are legitimate programs that are pretty reliably, top 25 level teams. So, that's a 30-year league right there. But Indiana has struggled some, but they're having a decent year and they'll probably make the tournament. Ohio State has always been a little bit hit and miss, at least in recent years. I mean, I'm not going back to the Oden Conley days because those guys were never missing.
They would have won it all if Conley hadn't gotten hurt in that foul trouble at first half.
Yeah, those guys, man, that was something. But USC is picking up. I think UCLA is picking up. They've had some injury problems this year, or I think they'd be better. But even like Minnesota is fighting somebody, and I like their new staff. I think their new coaching staff is going to make that team as competitive as Minnesota can be in the current environment in college sports.
I fell asleep. They won last night, didn't I? I fell asleep.
I believe Minnesota did win last night.
Yeah. But here's what I want to follow. What has Dusty May brought to the fore, in your opinion, in Michigan basketball? What? I mean, besides his last name, which is kind of awesome when you think about it, from a last name standpoint. But what has he brought that you as an aficionado, notice, man, this team's a little different because of blank.
Yeah, their size. He went out and he got bigger
big
guys.
Dudes, yeah.
Yeah, and not just big, but big and athletic.
Oh, yeah.
Yasselberg's a beast. He might be the best player in this league. I don't know. That's saying a lot because this league has got, you're going to go 10 guys deep that are first team, conference level guys, and you're going to have 10. You're going to have 2 teams of first team conference level guys in this league this year. But I also think he lets them do their thing. He doesn't throw a system at them that's going to restrict unnecessarily their abilities to be creative. And I mean, I think younger athletes, very athletic guys like that kind of a coach. Now, sometimes it blows up in your face, when you give them too much of the wheel. Or chemistry, right? But
the chemistry doesn't work. Yeah, now you got a problem.
Right.
You got an explosion.
It doesn't matter what your system is if the chemistry doesn't work.
Yes.
But it's but he's got guys and he's letting them play in a way that suits each of them individually and as a team. Yeah. And it's nice and he's got good enough guys to do it. I mean, you always want to do that as a coach, right? You want guys to be able to get the most out of themselves individually and still be a collective team. And it's not always easy to do, but he's got a group this year in particular that he can loosen the chains and trust them, and they've earned that trust from him to do that.
Yeah, I got you.
Jerry, I agree with what you said there. I think he does kind of take the reins off. Does that surprise you because he's a Knight disciple, or at least was a little bit of an apprentice under the general?
It's funny because things have changed since then.
Long time. You're right.
I don't know if a Bob Knight type who is so controlling and so rigid in what he did, but he got great players and they played really well, right?
Yeah.
He was really good at getting players to play his system, and he had great players doing it, and they excelled. I don't think you see a lot of rigidity like that in good teams anymore. It's a more free-flowing game. The players are good enough that you can let them improvise at times. Purdue's system is pretty. They've got a ridiculous playbook, and it's a motion offense, but you can still create out of it. And guys do that all the time. And Painter encourages it. If you see something, if you got something, get it.
Take it.
Yeah. And he's got guys that he can trust to do that.
What one other? Do you take? I kind of assume you take your bracket and you sort of play it out, and you get to one shining moment, and you say, "Hey, I only missed 4. I only missed 7," or it's kind of like, do you play the game that the rest of us play?
Oh yeah, I'll fill out a bracket. Is that you was after Selection Sunday? Yeah.
Right,
I'll fill out a couple. Yep.
And the last time you won a bracket was when?
Actually, won. I get in some pretty big pools.
Yeah, there you go.
Probably 15 years ago, finished first in something. Mm-hmm. I usually do well, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes it blows up on me. Looks like it does anybody else. Last year I did really well. But
how about Jerry bragging there backhandedly about how influential and successful he is? He gets in some pretty big pools.
Yes.
Like, you live in Bel Air or Brentwood,
No. Not big money. Big number of people.
Big pool.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about everybody's got a pool. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Beverly Hillbillies, Cement Pond.
Yeah. No, I can't swim, so it's probably just as well I don't have a pool.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Jerry, I know I'm keeping you, but I just do want to ask this. In your line of work of setting up your first rankings of a year, you wait, don't you? I'm trying to remember.
I'll do a preseason bracket.
Yeah.
Based on, preseason study.
Yeah. Now that's what I want to ask you. Does preseason study include you just sitting there meticulously making sure that you have accounted for this guy over here transferred from this team over here?
I'm looking at current rosters.
Yeah.
Unless of course somebody transfers the week before the season, because apparently the transfer portal is always open. So
right. Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
So
but you're still what I'm saying. How maddening is that these days, I guess is what I'm asking.
That's a gutsy thing to do.
I can weed out 2/3 of it right away. And you're picking champions out of smaller leagues, and a lot of times you can identify pretty quickly 1 or 2 teams that are likely to be them, and then you're still going to miss some of those. That's how it is.
So in that regard, what did you have Miami of Ohio doing this season?
I don't think I had them winning the league because I believe I chose Akron, which could still happen.
Absolutely.
But no, I did not see them going undefeated. But, one of the One of the things that I guess I don't like about this job that comes up every once in a while is Miami of Ohio. So Miami of Ohio is a great story.
Yes.
Because they're undefeated.
You know where I was going with this. Yeah, go ahead.
And everybody's thinking, they're a lock for the tournament and blah, blah, blah. And they're not. There's only one game left on the schedule that matters to them, and it's the championship game of the MAC. Yeah. They're either in that game and they win it and they go,
isn't that crazy?
Or they don't make that game or they lose it and they're out.
Yeah.
And it's not even close.
Out.
Yeah. It's not.
And it's not even close.
Oh,
and it's just and the reason I hate this part of the job is I'm out here, taking a leak on a great story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I'm pouring all the cold water on it. You just don't want any. So I feel bad about but my job is to be the bearer of bad news sometimes, and that's what that is. Bearer of bad news.
But like I looked last year, North Carolina makes the field, right? And how good was North Carolina last year?
Horrible. There has never been a team.
You know where I'm going with
that more conclusively proved during the regular season that they were not an NCAA tournament.
Yeah, proved it.
I mean, they had overwhelming evidence that this was not an NCAA tournament team, and the committee put them in anyway.
Right.
I don't always agree with the committee. They don't get them all right.
That's my problem with the league getting multiple teams, especially. And I'm not knocking the Big Ten because I think if Ohio State gets in the tournament, it will have deserved it. It will have won some games when it needed to win games and stuff. Yep. But the idea that you get in almost on reputation. I remember reading your story about the North Carolina that you did about you almost wrote it like, you were stunned but not shocked, or shocked but not stunned. You know what I mean? Kind of like because they got in. They got in on legacy.
I never say that. I never said that.
No, I said that.
But what I said was, for those of you who think that matters, I've always argued against it.
Yeah, you can't.
And I have a lot of examples, but for that case, if you're one of those people who thinks the name on the front of your jersey matters, I have no argument in this case because there's no other reason to put them in.
Right. So, is there a team right now that's sitting there that could be the North Carolina of this year? What I know that's hitting you from sideways, but I'm just wondering whether you're talking about Miami of Ohio. If Miami of Ohio finishes the regular season undefeated and wins them and falls in the MAC tournament on a last second shot, 50-49.
I don't know that I've got a big name program that far down the bracket this year.
Yeah.
Not a blue blood.
In there, isn't it?
Not a blue blood. I mean, Texas is down there,
Indiana.
And that's a big name, but it is a big name in football, right?
Yes. Exactly.
I don't know that I've got a team down, in that part of the bracket where I'm thinking. I mean, Indiana, I guess, but they haven't been a big name for 40 years. Well, 30.
Well, in basketball.
But I'm talking about basketball right now.
I know, I'm messing with you.
But, as an Indiana guy, I got to tell you, Indiana football winning a national championship is. I may never get my head fully wrapped around that.
There's no bigger turnaround in sports history. There is.
Oh, I know. I can't imagine that there is.
I don't know why no one should debate it. I heard somebody debating it the other day on some radio show, and I went, well, you're wasting your time. You're wasting my time because I'm thinking you're an idiot. You know what I mean?
They won more games in the last 2 years than they did the last 3 decades, probably.
Bingo.
It's incredible.
Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I'll give you a couple of names nearer the bottom of my bracket. Indiana, of course, being one of them.
Yeah.
That's a big name in, if you're old enough. It's that's probably the biggest one. I don't have I've got US or UCLA as a 10, and that's obviously another big name from longer ago. I don't think legacy is helping those teams now. But I don't have anybody like Carolina that in the bottom half of the bracket.
Yeah, there's nobody on the committee that's going to go, wait a minute, Indiana, I remember they used to be good.
Well,
they're not going to. They don't do that.
We've almost reached the point where the guys on the committee are not old enough to have remembered Indiana.
Exactly, that's the point. They've out swooned themselves. Indiana has. Hey, real quick, it's palmbrackets.com. I'm right? Yeah, and you can get a membership on there and get all kinds of information, ladies and gentlemen. It's in depth, as you would expect with Jerry Palm. If you ever got to be around this guy, he's telling you all He's telling everything you need to know. He's not telling you everything that he knows. That's one of the best ways of putting it. But I did want to touch on this before we let you go. You also do a football bracket, strength of scale, everything. By the way, Miami's
basically the same thing for that for football that I do for basketball.
And by the way, Miami basketball, for anybody feeling sorry for them, and you should, because they have gone undefeated to this point, if I'm not mistaken. I think they have a strength of schedule on your palmbrackets.com. I think it's like 330 or 303 or something.
I think it's 349 this morning.
349
out of 365. Now the lowest strength of
crazy.
schedule to ever get an at-large bid is in the 220s. Okay,
well, there you go.
Which is why Miami's not going to get one.
Yeah,
By the way, just if I can give a little plug for something on my site that I like, is right at the top of the front page is something called a team comparison tool.
Yeah, I love that. By the way,
you can put two teams in there and compare two resumes side by side.
Yeah,
there you go.
And then debate it. After you have the facts, right?
Then you can debate it with you, or you can throw it in my own face and debate it with me.
Exactly. Go ahead, Clay. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Jerry, are you good with 68 teams? We're bandying about a million different possibilities, but you think this is a comfortable number?
So I'm going to answer the question you didn't ask first. I think football should go to 16 because the bye that the top four teams get is punitive.
Of course it should.
There's no advantage to the bye. So there's 1 and 7 because it's hard to keep your edge for a full month through the holidays, through finals, and then show up and play a game. So 16 takes the bye away. So I like expanding football to that.
Let me interrupt you. And you know what? You could do it snap of a finger because those games would all be played on campus sites. You don't have to line up these other.
You don't have to change anything, really.
You don't have to change anything except that maybe you're a conference. You go, well, okay, we're not going to play our conference championship game immediately. Okay, big whoopee. That's all you got to change. Go ahead now.
Right. So for basketball, I have always been steadfastly in favor of going back to 64. That was always the perfect number. Yeah, and it does not matter what they expand from there.
Yeah.
Casual fans, the people who fill out their brackets, they aren't paying attention until it gets to 64. Wake me up when it gets to 64. I'm not even watching. I'm not even filling out a bracket until it gets to 64.
Right.
So, it's so they can make it 72 or 76 or 96 or 180 or whatever they want to do. Nobody cares about it till it gets to 64.
Let me ask you this though. The 4 games in Dayton, 2 of them are, I'm trying to think, 2 of those games are teams that are like 12 seeds, right?
They're the last 4 teams.
Last 4. Yeah.
In the at-large pool.
Yes.
So no AQs, right? The last 4 teams in the at-large pool. So they are usually 11s or 12s.
11s or 12s.
One time BYU was a 13, but it was because they couldn't play on Sunday, and so they had to move them to 13.
But you understand? I mean, these aren't 8 64th seeds playing. I mean, so it does affect your bracket when you think.
2 games of those, 2 games of 16 seeds, and 2 games of at-large teams.
Of at-large teams. That's my point. I mean, but they do affect your bracket because they're like could be 11, 12, 13. I mean, it's like
you got to wait and see who's playing before you can fill out your bracket, unless you're just unless you don't care.
It's crazy. But anyway. I mean, 12 beating 5 is not out of the question by any stretch, right?
It's 12-5.
Yeah.
And
long-standing trauma there.
But you think 64 is the number, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's the only number anybody will ever care about, regardless of what they make it.
Yeah. Now, the worst thing that could happen to you, a bracketologist, is if they put 365 teams in or whatever, right? And then it's like, but you still got to rank them, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we're not going to the high school basketball model.
No. But that's the thing. If you put 128 in, that's just adding 64 and 64. 64 times 2 is 128, right?
Yeah.
I did my math.
Yeah.
That's adding 1 game.
Or 132.
I mean,
you have to play in.
Yeah. So it's like, it's easier to expand than you think, but not really, because you want to finally, Jerry, I know you know that, just like in football, you want it to be fairly exclusive company, but but golly, man, if 10 teams from the Big Ten make it, I don't know what does that mean? Tell me what that means before we hang up.
There were 14 from the SEC last year. 14.
14.
Of 16.
Yeah.
All but 2. How would you like to be one of those two going to your alumni?
What do you mean you can't do it? These other 14 did.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see 14 from a league this year. But
gotcha. Well, hey, we're going to let you go, man. I know you're busier than heck. Your algorithms are flipping through your head. And before I do let you go, I wanted to ask you this. People were asking me back in May last year and June, I was on the radio a lot and stuff. And I said, Indiana was going to be better than it was the year before based on the guys they got in the portal and based on the quarterback they got in the portal, Fernando Mendoza. I love saying his name, Fernando. And Indiana won it all. I don't know if I saw that happening. But you, like you said a while ago, you and I have never seen, and I'm older than you, we've never seen something like this over the last 2 years. What is your take right now as you look at college football? Because now the transfer portal is closed. You can still sign guys who entered it, but the actual portal entry is closed. The enter door is locked. What do you see just on a nutshell here, middle of February? What's your take on the college football scene going into the fall in a nutshell? That means you don't have to be detailed in case I hit you sideways.
Good, because I can't, but I like Ohio State. And I feel like I almost always like Ohio State. And Indiana got them last year. And I think Ohio State's coming back next year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be playing with their hair on fire a little bit. And, the talent's never the problem there. And they had more talent than Indiana this year. You got to give Cignetti a lot of credit because they go out and they get talented enough guys.
Yes.
Not the big time blue chippers, and they coach those guys up, and it's and you can win that way. And he just proved that they did. But I always like Ohio State. I feel like I pretty much always like Ohio State.
You're a longtime sportsman. I've said this a million times in the last couple of months. Beware calling someplace a basketball school, because beating there deep in the heart of a basketball school is a football school just crying to get out.
It's funny. Indiana fans are still trying to figure out which end of the football's up.
Exactly.
I mean,
what do you mean?
They were still leaving games at halftime 2/3 of the way through last year.
Correct. They were. Correct.
The students.
Correct.
Because that's what we've always done.
Yeah.
But we're 7-1. Yeah. Okay. That's like 4 years worth of wins. Maybe you should stick around a little.
Yeah. But it is crazy, right? Cignetti, is he genius? How would you, like you were talking about a while ago. I mean, Clay was asking about
nuts,
Dusty.
I think.
Huh?
I think he's a little nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you got to be, don't you?
He doesn't practice very long.
Would he push Buckler?
But the thing that he does is he's got good schemes. He game plans well, and he's got guys that are good enough to execute them, and he gets the most out of those guys.
Yeah.
He gets the most out of those guys. And whether it's, relationships or, staff or, whatever they do with conditioning and things like that, he gets the most out of his guys.
Yeah.
And that's really the key job of a coach, is to get the most out of your guys.
It's funny because when Clay was asked you a while ago about Dusty May, and he has that he has some Bobby Knight background in him, but see, you never know what an assistant coach sitting down the bench or sitting in the office during meetings. You never know what's really going through his mind.
Well,
half of what's going through his mind is, I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to do that.
Well, you've got your own personality, right?
Yes.
So you've got your own ideas about things.
Yes.
Now you're working for a legend who's got this big system that has worked very well for him.
Yes.
And you think, oh, okay, so that's something I think I could use. Oh, that's not really my style.
Right.
Right.
I'm going to use a little bit of this, but not that. Yeah.
But that's, all of these coaches are bits and pieces of the guys that they've come across.
Of course.
They all are.
Starting with their mommy.
I don't know how much mom knew about hoops, but there's probably something there for you.
No, but mommy didn't mind disciplining you when you needed to be disciplined.
Right.
If she was the right mom,
but
you know what I'm saying.
Your parents influence you. There's no question.
Yeah. But no, you're exactly right. So I always tell everybody, well, it's he learned under this guy, so he's going to be just like that. Guess what? Brian Day ran into that for a while with Urban, following Urban Meyer, one of the elite coaches of all time and stuff. And we've seen him grow over 7 years now, going into his 8th season.
It's funny because Matt Painter learned a lot from Gene Cady.
Yeah.
Right. worked
Yeah,
for him,
yeah.
played for him, worked for him. And then at Michigan State, the same thing, even longer, by the way, for two coaches. It's just crazy. The Big Ten has got two schools
Yes.
that have had two coaches for over like 45 years.
That's
But
nuts. Yeah.
it's nuts. But Izzo learned a lot from Heathcote, and he's had his own ideas, right? And the game has evolved. And those guys, they had their own ideas, and they obviously were influenced by the guys that they played for and worked for. But then,
Yep.
and I don't think Izzo played at Michigan State, but they develop as the game has grown. They've grown with the game.
Yes.
So that's how you can be successful for a long period of time, because the game evolves, and coaches have to evolve too. So they have to be flexible enough, not too set in their ways, to evolve as the game evolves.
Amen. And one other quick thing before you go, it always helped when Judd Heathcote got Magic Johnson.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said. I just, back then from my days in school, Judd was always one of my favorite visiting coaches.
Curmudgeons.
Gene and Judd together were theater.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It was great.
Oh, hell yeah. That's why I said I would like to have been Jesse Owens' track coach. That's what I would like to have been. I would have really parlayed that. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, little breaking here.
What?
Texas Tech All-American forward JT Toppin suffered a season-ending torn ACL in his right knee in Tuesday night's loss to Arizona, the school announced.
There you go.
Oh,
you never
man.
know.
Oh,
you never
he's
know.
hurting.
You never know when it's going to happen.
Oh, no.
What a gut punch for that kid. It's such a good player. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And basketball is –
go
ahead.
That's Obi Toppin's brother, isn't it?
That's what
Aren't they related?
Are
they related?
Right?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I would think they would be, just from just background.
Well, because I'm thinking about, Obi Toppin was on that Dayton team.
Right.
It was Dayton. That was going to be
Dayton.
a number one seed.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
that's right.
And
that's right.
then the pandemic canceled their shot at glory. Dayton's rare shot at glory, and he was the star player on that team.
That's right. That's right.
And
that's right.
Guy. What a gut punch for them. And
wow.
now,
yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. Wow.
Gosh.
Real quickly, what does that do?
I just hate that. I hate that for him. I hate it for the team. It's such a disappointment.
Absolutely.
And, hopefully they can soldier on and still have a good, rest of the season and tournament. But man,
that's where basketball is different from football, man. One injury can really change your team.
You only play 5 guys at a time.
Exactly.
And maybe 8 in your rotation.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway. Wow. I hate to end it on that down note.
I just wanted him to know that.
Oh yeah.
That's horrible.
He's typing into his algorithm as we speak here now. But, no, it's horrible news. It's horrible news. Hey, Jerry, thank you very much for joining me, man, and for joining Clay even. Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys. Anytime you want to do this.
And by the way, it's palmbrackets.com. Palm brackets, plural, right? Palmbrackets.com. Where you can find all this information. Jerry, you have a hell of a site. The depth of it is nuts, and if you're an information guy, that's definitely where you want to hang out. But palmbrackets.com, Jerry Palm, longtime friend of mine, acquaintance now of the Clay Hall. We thank you for joining us.
And thanks for having me on.
And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you then. By the way, Clay has left the room. I wanted to let you folks in on a real bargain out there in the world of simulator golf. The Back Nine Golf, which is located at 2820 Fishinger Road in Upper Arlington, has a hell of a holiday box available to you right now. The value is nearly $300, but your price is $150 if you jump online. That's almost 50% off if you jump online at Columbus at theback9golf.com. That's their email address. Their website is theback9golf.com/Columbus-upper-Arlington-OH/ That's a long address, but just write it down a couple times watching it. And you can also call them at 614-362-7888. Parentheses PUTT. PUTT. But the bottom line is one of the new ultra modern simulators that you can find in the greater Columbus area, and it's really right there in the middle of Upper Arlington. I know Tito Thidoff and I hopped in there the other day. I think it was 16 degrees outside. There was snow and ice everywhere, and we played Pebble Beach. And we did it in less than an hour. So it's one of the great bargains going out there. And with this holiday box, you get 1 month of Birdie membership. You get Back Nine branded golf balls. You get cozy Back Nine beanie, and you get premium Back Nine towel. So that's a hell of a deal, because basically it's unlimited golf. It's 24/7. You get a code to get you in the door, and then you can go from there. And it's definitely fun. It's the premises are pristine. I know we had a great time. We even played closest to the hole, a few shots on number 7, famed number 7 short par 3 at Pebble Beach the other day, and had a great time doing it. So if you're looking for that last minute gift for a golfer that you love, or yourself that you love, that you're a golfer, nothing wrong with giving yourself a gift at this time of the year. That's the Back Nine Golf holiday box, and it's only a limited time. And as you can imagine, there are only a few available. Quantities are tight. So check in at theback9golf.com.